Hey, my name's Emily Hopkins. I'm a professional harpist who uses pedal effects with my music. This is my partner Russ, who sometimes helps me control my pedal board, and this is Bored to Death. We're here in Akron, Ohio at Earthquaker Studios, and yesterday was Earthquaker Day, which we gave a pedal clinic at, and we were so excited to be a part of it. It was everything I could have hoped for and more, because this was our first Earthquaker Day.
It was really wonderful to be able to kind of show everybody in person and have an audience that really genuinely cared about pedal effects and what we're doing. So it was a really nice outlet for us because we usually just are at home in our studio doing it virtually. So it was so nice to be with people in real life and be able to talk about it.
Especially because there's been a break in the Earthquaker days. You know, this is the first one since 2019, so it's a huge honor for us to be a part of it, and we met so many nice people. It was absolutely wonderful talking with everyone, talking pedal stuff and nerding out about everything. And
letting people play harp for the first time.
Yeah, and letting people try out the harp, do a nice glissando. But yeah, and meeting Julie for the first time, absolutely incredible. It took us a while to design this pedal board, not only because it's massive, but just because we had to pick and choose which pedals got a spot, because we couldn't pick them all. And I have a lot of favorite pedals. So the ones that we picked for the board are not necessarily like my favorite pedals of all time, because I have a lot of favorites, but these pedals are the ones I selected to kind of develop the sound that I was looking for that I can use in performances. So these pedals, you know, create this kind of sound and like give me opportunities to create these different soundscapes, I guess, right? Like some kind of different layers that I can build upon and develop the performance as we go. And it's very much interactive because I have Russ controlling my board. As certain pedal effects turn on and as certain pedal effects go away, I kind of respond to what's happening in the performance. So it's very much interactive, it's very much go with the flow, and it's a wonderful bunch of pedals. So my board begins in the top right corner. Those three pedals are kind of like my utility pedals that take care of the low end resonance of the harp, which tends to get pretty muddy if you're just going straight into pedal effects. So we use these three pedals to clean up the harp signal before it goes into any effects. So we start with a 29 pedals Una, which is basically an input buffer. It preserves the high end clarity and kind of takes care of some of the low end muddiness. And then we have the Fairfield Circuitry Long Life, which again is a high pass filter. It takes care of that muddy resonance that you can sometimes find when you plug right in to the harp. And then we have the Empress Bass Compressor, which does even more, cleaning up the signal. So those three are like my go-tos. They're always on my board. And can we show them what the harp sounds like without those?
Sure.
So this is the harp's clean tone without anything added. Okay, and this is what the harp sounds like with those three pedals added.
A lot of it is, again, controlling some of that low-end resonance, but also bringing up the highs and then kind of getting the best signal from the harp we can. Because once you go into other effects, it's way better to kind of control that. And a lot of it, too, is also perceived volume of the harp. So it's not actually making the harp louder, it's just making it feel louder at the right frequencies for the human ear.
Giving it a little boost, you know, a little boost. So After those three first pedals, it goes right into the plus pedal, which has the Earthquaker devices, Astral Destiny, in the effects loop. So the great thing about this is that we have the option to use it with the plus pedal. We don't always, but usually we do keep it on because it adds this nice shimmer and modulation, very subtle. And it's a great like foundation to play over. So we use the plus pedal to sustain notes. And then from there I can add whatever I'm going to play on top of that. So it's really nice to have that as the foundation and to have that as an option to keep those notes going, because the harp's natural decay, you know, it's not that long. It doesn't go on infinitely.
So that creates this modulating, shimmering synth pad that we love to have behind the harp as it plays. And what's really wonderful about the plus pedal is that we can send that wet signal of just the sustain note out into this Red Panda mixer and control the level of that, so we can dial it back as we need to, and then have the dry harp signal pass through the plus pedal and go into pretty much the rest of the board, and we can mix that in separately. So we've been playing around a lot with parallel signal change, and this has kind of been our favorite element of that. So we really felt it was necessary to capture that on this board.
So from the plus pedal, we go into When the Sun Explodes by this company called Beautiful Noise Effects. And I love this pedal. It adds this nice like overdrive, like gritty overdrive and a little bit of reverb as well. And it just makes the harp sound cooler. You know, like I'll show you because I love it.
So then we go into the Meris Enzo, which is the synth and sequencer pedal, and there's a lot of different sounds you can get from it, and it can be a little difficult to recall them. So we have the preset switch from Meris, so we can quickly change between our favorite sounds. So the number 1 and number 3 are sequencers.
I don't even need to play over it because that's, yeah, but okay, here.
The second one is more of a synth sound. And then the fourth one brings the mix down to 0, so we can kind of kill that pedal really quickly if we need to.
The great thing about having the preset switch is for those times when Russ is not around and I'm performing solo, we designed the board so that the bottom right corner can be controlled by me when I'm just playing solo. So like the expression roller, I can just move that with my foot. I can hit the preset switch myself and I can sustain those notes with the plus pedal. So that was intentional for those times when you're not around to dial everything in exactly right. I can still do a lot of different things.
And it's really helpful when designing a board if you have like your pedals with presets in unreachable areas if possible, so you can get the ones that don't have that kind of closer to your feet, and you can use preset switches in certain spots. So there was kind of a crazy logic that we had to where these things landed on the board, and it works out pretty well.
After the Enzo, we go to the Ama by AC Noises, which is the best bit crusher pedal that I found. I love it. I mean, there are so many good bit crushers out there, but this one is really special. And then from Ama, we go into Therme, which is a really nice bucket brigade delay. And from the Chase Bliss Therme, we go into Old Blood Noise Endeavor's Dark Star, which is like this really nice pad reverb. We usually use it in what do we use
Delay
in?
mode, yeah.
We usually use it in delay mode, and when the mix goes to 100%, it sounds like this really nice string swell. We also have the matching Old Blood Noise expression slider, which controls the amount of reverb. So we can change that as needed. And I love that it matches. Sorry, I usually don't care about like the aesthetic, but it's really nice that we have the matching expression slider.
And also, it's easy to tell, like, oh, that's for that.
Yeah, yeah, there's no mistaking it. Like, that's definitely for Dark Star.
After Dark Star, we have the Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run, and
we always keep this one on. This one is always on.
Yeah, it's always on. We usually keep it in reverse mode, and it's the kind of thing that sounds good on everything, and it sounds good after everything. And the best part about this is that it has a knob where you can control what the expression pedal does to it. So we have that set to the mix of the reverse delay, and we control that with this Chase Bliss expression roller. So it's something that you can easily turn up with your foot or your hand, and the build quality is just really nice. So this is my favorite expression pedal right now, and it's been really fun to play with. Do you want to play without it, and then I'll mix it in?
So. After the Avalanche Run, we go into Microcosm by Hologram Electronics, and you can't go wrong with this pedal. I feel like it makes everything sound good, but in our case, it really adds this like nice ambient, like twinkling, I would say, right? Like, how would you describe it?
Yeah,
like
ambient twinkling.
Ambient twinkling. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You nailed it. That entire pedal chain and the wet signal from the plus pedal go into two channels on the Red Panda mixer. And this Red Panda mixer goes into the Milkman Amp 100, which is essentially just our amplifier. And it's really wonderful because we can control the master volume, we can have some additional EQ options, and there's a lot of output options. There's an XLR where we can go DI. There's a pedal out with a lot of headroom so we can go into another board if we wanted to. And there's a tube inside so we can get some really nice breakup if we drive a lot into it.
And when we use Dark Star and we bring the mix to 100%, sometimes we get a volume loss. It gets a little quieter. So we use the Milkman Amp 100 to give that a little bit of a boost and to regulate it. And then once that mix goes back down, we adjust as needed. So it's really nice that we have all these controls over the sound, and because there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's nice that we, as in you, have control over all the levels.
So this harp only has one pickup and one output that we run mono into the board, but the other harp has more output options where we use the third channel on the Red Panda mixer with the Hizumitas Fuzz on the low end of the harp only. So that creates some really wonderful low synth-like wall of fuzz textures that we can mix with these other two chains that we were just discussing.
Having multiple outputs like that gives you a wide range of opportunities as to which effects you want to put where. But I like having the fuzz on the bass because it just lays down like this heavy wall of fuzz that like establishes the piece. Like, here we go, this is fuzz. So I usually use fuzz on the bass and play something really nice and ambient and pretty on top of that. And I really like mixing heavy fuzz with like some lighter effects, especially on harp, because you may not expect it. So I'll show you what the Hizumitas sounds like on pedal harp.
Great.
That was cool. That was like a gate, like at the
gated
end, that
fuzz,
ended
yeah.
perfect. Okay, that was cool. Ooh,
I
how was
love
that? You
this.
felt good?
I really didn't do much of anything.
Okay,
I
that felt
just slammed
good.
this a couple times.
You did great. Sleepy.
Was that okay, you think?
That was perfect.
Okay.
I loved it.
Okay, cool.